Hi, everyone. Gina Aliotti here. I'm so excited for this conversation with Tanji Johnson. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity to reconnect. It's been several years since her and I have connected, and through social media. One reason I love social media, we've reconnected, and I just thought we'd have a fun conversation today about transitioning from hardcore fitness into vibrant wellness. So before we bring Tanji on, I'm going to share a little bit about her. But first, I had to just share one of her fitness routines. I believe this was the last one. She can let us know when she pops in. But oh my gosh. So let's see. Let's share screen. Let's see if I can do this. Here we are, Tanji. Amazing talent right here. This girl, the Energizer Bunny. Look at her. So striking and gorgeous. Gives me the chills just seeing her. Amazing, amazing. So awesome. All right, so I am just so excited to have her on. I'm going to share a little bit about her. She's so cute. I said, hey, Tanji, can you send me just a little bit of your bio? I just want to share with everyone. Can you just share with me a little bit about you, where you came from? So she sends me like a few little snippets. And so I do a little bit more digging. And here we go. Here's the backstory of Tanji. Tanji was born in Bamberg, Germany, and grew up as an army brat, living her adolescence in Germany and Korea. She attended Irmo High School after her father retired and ran track and field. She was also the founder and captain of a hip-hop dance team called Irmo Divas. Her strict upbringing laid the foundation for who she is today. She attended the U.S. Air Force Academy, where she went through basic training, learned how to be a leader amongst her peers. She was a varsity cheerleader and member of the Cadet Honor Guard, and went through several intense military programs like survival training and Marine Corps officer training. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Humanities and commissioned as an Air Force officer, where she graduated in 1997. As an officer, she served as an admissions officer in the Minority Enrollment Department of the Air Force Academy and as the head cheerleading coach. Her next assignment was to Fairchild AFB in Spokane, Washington in 1999, where she served as an aircraft maintenance officer responsible for the management and maintenance of the KC-135 aerial rufflers. Tanji separated from the Air Force and saw fitness as an entertaining and challenging way to promote a healthy lifestyle, as well as help change society's concept of a real woman. She began competing in fitness in 1998 and then took a year off when she got deployed during Operation Allied Force. Since then, she has competed in the Fitness America pageant, Women's Try Fitness, NPC, and IFBB. Her goals in the fitness industry are to minister God's grace and love through her influence and lifestyle. Tanji has been involved in the fitness industry for over 10 years. Tanji is well known and currently ranked top 2 in the world in IFBB Pro Fitness. She has earned 6 professional IFBB fitness titles, I believe there's more now, in her career, and is a strong contender to become one of the next Fitness Olympia champions, which is the most prestigious pro fitness competition with worldwide recognition and coverage. Tanji serves as a fitness, figure, and bikini coach to influence women through her Safe Fitness team that she founded in 2008. She co-promotes Vancouver's National Bodybuilding and Tanji Johnson's Fitness Figure Classic, where over 235 athletes compete from all over the Northwest. She has a figure posing DVD, and she is highly respected for her Christian values and integrity in the industry. She's also known for her versatility as she runs marathons, trains CrossFit, competes in pro fitness events, she starred as the American Gladiator and promotes her Tanji Enterprises DVD series. Holy crud. Before we go any further, I'm going to bring her on. Tanji, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Gina.
Hi. Okay, I know that was long-winded, but I'm just such a firm believer in celebrating your journey. And, I just feel like people think oh, she just must have had good genetics. And it's no. No. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I was so excited to reconnect with you. That's one thing that I love about social media is how you may not see someone for 10, 15 years, and then you can just pick it back up just like that. So thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I know that's one thing I love about social media too, right? I think it's been several years since we've connected. So let's talk about your transition. So obviously in the fitness world, that's what we call hardcore fitness.
Right,
And
right.
how has that transition been? Tell us a little bit of your background. Like, when you ended, was it 2009? And then now your transition.
So my last show, believe it or not, I was, it's really cute because when you're reading that bio, I thought, oh, this is why I have to update my website. So all of that was probably from 10 years ago. Oh my goodness. But
There's so much more.
I retired in 2016. That was my
Okay.
last show. And so I did the Olympia. That was my 12th Olympia, which I was really, really proud of because it's very hard to get to the Olympia and to be able to stick around in the industry long enough to have over a decade's worth of the best competition in the world. It's really cool and it completely changes who you are and what you kind of become. And so my last show was the Olympia, and then I went to Spain for the Arnold Classic Europe. So that was all 2016. And then I luckily met the love of my life when I was in my late 30s, and he was able to spend those last few years with me. And he got to meet Arnold, he got to travel with me, and we actually did our last show together because Brandon did a couple of NPC men's physique shows. So when we went to Spain, he competed in the Arnold Amateur, and I did the Pro Fitness, and we were able to do that last show together, and that was my last show. He may do a show in the future, but that was definitely my last show. So that was 2016, and then we got married in 2017. So here we are 3 to 4 years later.
Wow, that is so cool that he knew you from the competition days, because it's when somebody kind of meets you and you tell the story, it's they hear the story, but to actually be a part of it and to witness you on stage with your incredible energy is like a whole nother level. Very cool. Congratulations. And you have a
Thank
couple
you.
step kids as well now?
Three
Three.
step boys. Yes, yes. They keep
Wow.
us young. They keep us young.
Yeah, that's for sure, right? So now, how has it been for you to transition from competing at that level and, gosh, at the fitness level where you not only have to train hard, you have to diet, you have to look your
Yeah.
best on stage, but then you have your routine. I mean, that is what we call hardcore fitness. How has that transition been for you to go from that lifestyle to now, everyday real life?
That's right. The first transition is mental because
Yep.
you have to embrace how you transition through seasons in life. So I was already preparing myself. I was even making jokes with people about how, I definitely wasn't going to be doing 3 hours of working out anymore because that is what I did for 18
Mhm.
years. I trained on average 2 to 3 hours 5 to 6 days a week consistently for that 18-year period that I was competing. And so mentally, I had to accept, okay, my body is tired and beat up. I'd love to be able to say that your bones, your joints and muscle and connective tissue, that everything stays the same. But I remember being in my 20s, and anytime I saw a field of grass or an open court, I would just want to do flips. Like I would see it and it's like, oh my gosh, I just want to do flips.
It's my
Now,
daughter.
fast forward 20 years when I'm like 38, 39, and also the difference is when I did gymnastics, I did not get to do it on a bouncy floor like most gymnasts compete on.
Mhm.
I was competing on bodybuilding venues and bodybuilding stages, which ranged from those built stages. It could be an auditorium with the hardwood floors. And so that impact on your joints is super harsh. And I did that over and over and over, not to discredit the fact that I was also very lean and had
Mhm.
low body fat when I was doing that level of athleticism. So when you think of football players, let's say like what's his name? Ray Lewis, right? Who
Mhm.
most people know him from having competed for a very long time in the NFL. So he had a very long NFL career. When you retire and you've put your body through that extreme athleticism, most of the time it will feel beat up. I did the best that I could, and I actually did a great job with my self-care. So mentally for me, when I retired, I was ready to let my body rest,
Oh, wow,
which
that's
means
great.
So I wasn't trying to prioritize. I knew that my life priorities were going to move now towards serving the community in a different way, raising my family, becoming a new wife. I had some entrepreneurship goals that I wanted to achieve. And so that high level athleticism, when it comes to energy, time invested, that level of effort, I knew I needed to bring that down to make room for other areas. Now, physically, it was very good for my body to rest, but it was also difficult to transition and accept my new body, right? So for 20 years,
Yes.
I had a body that was like 6 to 7% body fat all the time, super muscly, very athletic, very mobile, very flexible. And so as I transitioned, of course, my body fat came up. I gained a little bit more weight. For the most part, I kept my mobility and my flexibility, but I'm not throwing up heavy weight and lifting for strength in the same way. So my strength has changed, and I'm not doing acrobatics anymore, right? So that would take me a little bit. So that's the transition that I went through. But mentally, I had to accept that was okay, so that I can
Exactly.
enjoy the new season of my life without
Right.
feeling bad about myself just because I don't sustain that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great that you had that mental foundation. And that's really where it stems, to give yourself that permission to now step into a new version of Tanji.
Yeah.
Don't you think that so many people get stuck in this old version of themselves? Like, this is, the lean me things evolve and change. And it's part of that
Yeah.
accepting of that new chapter and that new evolution. But it all stems
Absolutely.
from building that mental foundation.
That's right.
That's awesome that you did that, Tanji. Now tell me how has your training changed from, so obviously you're not doing the acrobatics, but like, what is the workout Tanji now versus then? And then also how the diet's changed.
Okay. So when it comes to my training, so traditionally when I was competing, I was doing elite level physical activity like hand balancing, plyometrics. I was training for power. I was bodybuilding, training hypertrophy, always trying to be stronger, lifting a lot of weight in a traditional gym. Now, I just want to make sure that I'm functional, that I'm active, that my energy is good, and I want to have a basic level of strength, flexibility, balance, and mobility, and feel good. So I feel like my fitness has become more recreational. So in the wintertime, I ski I live in Washington State. So I live in beautiful Northwest. So we go hiking all the time. We go biking. And when it comes to my daily exercise, I have a piece of cardio equipment in my garage. I have a great elliptical when I'm not out running, but I tend to work out, and I just did 2 hours ago in my living room. Right
Right.
here, right
Oh,
here behind you,
I
right?
love it.
And
Yes.
I've got my 20 pounds, my 15 pound, my 10, 12 pound dumbbells. I've got the hip glute bands. I've got all kinds of bands, because for me, I still have a lot of muscle. I still have a lot of muscle, right? And so for me, I don't need to keep bodybuilding, but I like to stay toned, because if you don't use it, you will lose it. And
Right.
so I still do my glute thrusts. I still do my, military presses, bent over rows. I just don't go as heavy, but it's enough for me to maintain the amount of lean muscle that I want to make. And it allows me to stay relatively lean, and it allows me to be functional. So basically, I do home workouts and I get outdoors and enjoy recreation. But so now, instead of feeling like I have a hardcore fitness routine, I don't think it's hardcore at all. It's
Right.
very functional, it's easy on my body, and it meets my personal goals, which is to give my body a break, but stay active.
Now, are you surprised by how your body's responded? Because, my mantra and my mindset is now less is more. And I find it so interesting that back in the day, when I was doing 2 hours of cardio plus training, so 3 hours a day, you have that mindset to think that you have to do that to stay into shape, to stay
Right.
in good shape. Of course, that's a different level of shape, but it's such a mindset trip to think, like, I know now, taking those rest days, I am
Yeah.
blown away by the conditioning that I can still stay in
Right.
by giving myself rest and just shifting my fitness. Would you
Yes.
find the same thing? Like, how has your body adjusted since you've changed dramatically your training?
Oh, I prefer it. I do not miss training 2 to 3 hours a day at all. right? I mean, I just have other things that I want and need to do. But again, once you define the level of athleticism, you will be surprised if you're efficient with what you choose to do, whether you're doing HIIT workouts or getting your metabolic rate up, you can be very efficient in a shorter period of time. And so when you think of strength training and powerlifting, less is more. They don't do tons and tons and tons of reps. They do 1 to 3. I remember when I did a powerlifting, trained for a powerlifting meet, it was really weird because I was in the middle of my bodybuilding career where I traditionally did maybe 16 to 24 sets in a given workout. And then I'm going in here doing, squats and chest presses for 1 to 3 sets.
Right.
And I'm thinking, that's it. But I got hella strong,
Right.
So yes, I definitely think it works.
Yeah, I love that. Now, can you talk a little bit about you? So you just got it was a degree in functional medicine health coaching. Is that right?
So it's actually, so not a degree, but it's a certification for functional medicine health coaching. And that was actually something I decided to do to pivot, because when I retired 3 or 4 years ago, I was heavily involved in the bodybuilding industry. I'm talking 98% of everything I did was all fitness, bodybuilding. I was judging shows, I was making appearances, I was coaching, I was promoting, putting on my own events, I was still competing, I was traveling. And when I retired, the one thing I missed, and I can compare this to my teens and in my 20s because I was in the military at that time, I just missed the diversity. I felt like my life was lacking, where I didn't feel like I had the balance with other communities outside of the fitness industry. So when I retired and I thought, it's really fun to be a competitor and you're very relevant with the type of work that you're doing. So when I was doing all of those things, it was very relevant and I was very in it and very present at that time because I was a high level fitness competitor. Once I retired, I thought, not only am I about to go on my own wellness journey and figure out how do I go from that hardcore fitness lifestyle to an optimal, vibrant wellness life, as I go through that journey, I would like to teach other people that too. So I became very attractive to the concept of a health coach. Now, if you don't mind, let me take a moment to describe what a health coach is, because that industry is somewhat new, but very, very important. And for me, having been a personal trainer and a fitness coach, it's extremely different. When I was a personal trainer and a coach, I told people what to do. I was the expert and I would tell them what to do, motivate them, hold them accountable, but I was the expert. When you are a health coach, you partner with the client and you help them explore and figure out what they really want for themselves and what's their vision of health and wellness. How am I going to tell somebody what to do when I don't even know them? They are going to tell me who they are, what they want, where they want to go. And then I'm going to serve as their ally and kind of act like a behavioral change specialist and help them tap into their own strengths and self-efficacy so that they can transform and know that they have everything that they need within and they don't need me being the expert. So it's a very different experience. It's very, very rewarding to feel like I am able to help people become empowered to move where they want to go instead of that person that just told everybody what to do. So it's very, very different. So that's what I've been doing over the past year. And that in and of itself, for me, has been a transformation from the type of coaching that I used to do. And oh my goodness, I'm very embarrassed, but I need to plug in my computer.
Do it. Go, Tanji.
Okay, give me one moment.
Plug it in. Isn't she just amazing? I just, everything she's talking about is just resonating with me so deeply, because her and I came from such a hardcore background, and now to make this pivot into wellness and balance and a vibrant wellness. When I asked Tanji what she wanted to chat about, and she actually is the one that came up with the idea of going from hardcore to vibrant wellness, I was like, wow, you couldn't have put those two words together more beautifully, Tanji, when you described how we wanted to talk about hardcore fitness to vibrant wellness. I feel like a lot of people talk about how do you go from hardcore to living a balanced, healthy lifestyle, and I wanted to use those words too. But the words that you chose, vibrant wellness, like, I just loved that combo because it really is about wellness, yes, and balance, but it's also about vibrating at your highest frequency, which is what I think that you're kind of talking about when you're a health coach, is being able to like dig into this vibration that we all have and helping somebody to like, you know, my tagline is ignite that inner fire. We all have that vibration and that fire, and it's just finding the right tools to be able to tap in. And especially with all the noise of everything we have going on, that's amplified even since we were competing, right?
Exactly.
We didn't have Instagram back in the day.
That's
and now
right.
it's like all these extra influences that are telling us who we should be and what we should do. And it's like, no, we have to learn. And it does take the right coaching to remove all of this and to tap into here to really understand what it is we even freaking want, right?
Yes, so true. So true.
Yeah,
So true.
It's so funny how people are always, you know, how much can you lift or how much can you bench? And the truth is the passion is like, actually, how many minutes of stillness can you be in without opening your eyes? You know, it's just like such a shift and like hardcore to this vibrant wellness. So how do you tap out? And how have you kind of discovered your inner fire with, especially now with social media and still trying to grow your business and being off the stage and not having as much exposure that we used to have, you know, with interviews and magazines and all these things. How do you do it?
So the question is, how do I ignite?
How do you ignore all of this and really like tap into Tanji and what Tanji wants?
Okay, I am the worst guest ever. I thought I plugged it up. Give me one more moment.
Do it, girl. Hey, it's what you get when you're real, right? That's what lives call for, is real life. Such good conversation. I just love it. I love connecting and getting the real story behind that superstar. Here, check her out here. I just have to. Look at her. Look at how cute she is. Tanji, oh my gosh. Energizer bunny. Gorgeous. Such a babe. So yeah, so how do you tap into here? Because I know I've you know, I do more meditation and a lot more yoga and stillness type stuff. Do you do any of that, or what allows you to kind of tap in?
I do. First of all, whenever you feel anxiety or stress, especially mentally, the first thing I like to tap into is breathing. And I actually did this a lot when I was competing, and I don't even think I was aware of it. You know, when something is important to you and you get that nervousness, you know, that's a good thing, to get excited, to get nervous, because it shows you that it's important to you. So right before a routine, I remember feeling the jitters, and I'm thinking to myself, this drives me crazy. I got to get out there and do my thing. But I would just take a deep breath in and breathe anything that was negative out. And I would breathe in that confidence and God's will and what I knew I wanted to do. And I would breathe out anything negative. And just that breathing alone helped calm my nerves. But then there was also that acceptance of everything that I was feeling was okay. And when I got on stage and the music turned on, I was going to do what I needed to do. And so when you think about life in general, if you ever get that overwhelming feeling and anxiety, for me, it always starts with breathing techniques. And then meditation, prayer, I think all of that is very important because it allows you to sit in that still space and just be. And sometimes that's when the most amazing things come to you, because you're intentionally getting away from the noise that keeps you busy, keeps you distracted, right? You know, like we're in a time where we have social media, and you hear people all the time, I have to cancel my account. I have to get off social media. I have to take a break, because they are admitting that the noise of social media is disrupting their flow and their own interpersonal peace. So for me, it's going to be breathing techniques, meditation and prayer. Journaling also is a very great self-reflective exercise that helps keep things intact for me. But the biggest thing the other thing I wanted to bring up is how important it is to redefine the vision that you have for your life. So when I was competing, the vision that I had was I wanted to be one of the top fitness athletes of the world. And so everything I did in my life was devoted to that goal and that vision. And when that was complete and it was time for me to close that chapter and move on, Then, and it didn't happen overnight, Gina. It took me 2 years. 2 years. I told myself, I have been in the military. I've just had this 20-year fitness career. I'm trying to get pregnant with my husband. So I want to make room for me having a baby in that family. So I'm not rushing to plan the rest of my life. I'm going to sit still. I'm going to just be with my husband. I'm going to rest and I'm just going to be. So I did that for about a year and it was super uncomfortable to just like not feel like I had an immediate goal or a purpose, right? But it allowed me to really figure out, okay, what do I like? What do I don't like? What's inspiring to me? And at the time, as I was transitioning and figuring out, how am I going to live? What's my new lifestyle going to be now? That's when I became more and more attractive to that vibrant wellness that I was telling you about, where I just had to change my mindset from everything has to be hardcore to, you know what, I want a life of gentleness and bliss and ease and relaxation and joy. And what does that look like for me? And so it took me 2 years to figure out, oh, I need to transition from being in the hardcore bodybuilding space and transition to serve in the wellness community. And then how am I going to do that? So the first way I decided was I want to be a health coach. I want to be able to work with people one-on-one and walk through that journey with them. And when I have enough experience, then I'll launch an online program. I'll have a few wellness retreats. My husband, he's a sports chiropractor and he does functional medicine. So I thought, this is so cool. Like we're totally aligned in what we do, So that's what I do to kind of get my Zen back. But it started with vision and it took time to figure that out.
It's funny you say it took me 2 years. I'm thinking only 2 years. Like I feel like it takes so much time, especially after your career. Would you say 18 years? What in the
it was? Yes.
So it's like that's a lot of years and a lot of grinding and a lot of like your brain being wired this one way. So to unravel all of that and to kind of separate yourself in 2 years, I'm thinking that's pretty good, Tanji. It's a journey, right? It takes time. I think that's also important to kind of touch on too, is that, people think that you're going to make this pivot overnight. And whether it's reaching your goals, I mean, you were competing for years. I was competing for years. We had to really build that foundation. It took time. And then on the flip side, it also takes time to kind of pivot and shift and take, give yourself that permission to just be. And it takes time. So, wow, I'm so happy that you found like a little happy place with the functional medicine. That is totally up my alley and kind of what I do without having the certification. But now you're inspiring me to just dig a little bit deeper into that. Yeah, I just love it. I love it. Love it. So,
thank you.
Okay, so I have to ask you. So let's I was watching one of your videos and I just thought this was so cool. It was you were training for a show and you were talking and training, doing all your cool motivational stuff that we do. And you were talking about how the real challenge, this is after you were runner-up with Olympia trying to be the champ. And you were talking about how, because I totally resonated with me, how the real challenge is after years of doing it, stepping on the same stage, you knew the hotel, you knew the smells in Orleans, right? You knew the whole thing. And you said the real challenge becomes finding novelty in something that's not so novel anymore. So when you've been doing something day in and day out, and you've done it so many times, that the challenge really becomes, how do you find that excitement and that novelty in something that's not so novel? And so how can you talk about, like, because I know a lot of people, like, how do you wake up every day and do the same thing? Because it's the same thing every day. How do we keep reigniting that fire and finding that novelty in something that's not so novel anymore?
Well, a lot of times we get comfortable, so we don't look for that novelty, and we don't allow ourselves to be creative, right? One of the things that I teach and I apply as a health coach is I really teach people to tap into their character strengths. So there are 24 universal character strengths, and we all have our top ones. But it doesn't mean that the ones at the bottom are our weaknesses. They're just our lesser strengths. Those are the ones that maybe don't come as natural, right? So maybe you're in that situation where you have creativity and maybe at work you've been very creative with problem solving, but maybe in your own personal life, you forget to apply being a creative in how you can create more novelty. So for me, while I was dieting those last few years and I was feeling that way, I would go to my nutritionist and say, and it's really cool because back in the day, bodybuilding was so just chicken and sweet potatoes. That's it. And now everybody that's dieting, they're on macro plans and they're eating all kinds of vegetables and proteins. But I went to my nutritionist and I would say, why can't I have purple potatoes? Can I have red potatoes? And what about lamb? How about rack of lamb? And there, we just kind of negotiated, and I kept changing my diet. Certain things may have stayed the same, like the carb cycling or the caloric intake on how clean it was and how I cooked it, but I just kept changing it up. And then with my routines, it was the same thing. That is one of the reasons why I think I was able to last for 18 years, because I was an artist. And as an athlete, I got to reinvent myself, just like an actor. Every single movie, right? Every single show, I showed up as the Energizer Bunny or Catwoman or Prince or Michael Jackson. I could go on and on. I've been a lot of characters.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good way to kind of bring that fun into it with a new character, literally.
Yes. And one example I'm going to give you that pertains to my present life that, again, took me a couple of years to get out of. When I was a competitor, I was used to prepping very clean food. Very boring, just baking a bunch of sweet potatoes, cooking a bunch of chicken breasts, sauteing a bunch of, ground turkey. And I wasn't big into lifestyle cooking at that time. And I really kind of just felt like I'm just too busy. I've got so much going on. I've got my clients, my shows, and I was just a machine. So when I retired, I remember resisting. I do not want to feel like I'm on a diet. I do not want to prep bodybuilding food. I don't want to do that anymore. So for a couple years, I did it. I had more wine, went to happy hour, maybe ate a little bit more food than I should have ate. But then 2 years later, when I thought, okay, I can do better than this, like I need to be healthier and I'd like to lose a little bit of weight. I just don't want to go back to what I did. I don't want to go back to that really rigid structure. And so it took me a while to figure out, but I basically plugged into a program where the program that actually I'm partnered with, we do virtual cooking classes. So I participated in my own, in our virtual cooking classes. And now 3 classes later, I'm actually hosting them now. And it has been a blast. So like last night, I was craving ice cream. I don't know if you've ever had this, but one of the recipes we taught was, it's kind of like a sorbet, but basically you take frozen riced cauliflower with a little bit of coconut milk and a little bit of non-fat Greek yogurt. And then the supplement company that my husband and I have, we have a trace minerals and vitamins that come in a packet, and it tastes like pomegranate. And so I poured all of that, which is basically no sugar and no bad step. I think it has exactly. And it brought flavor. So I felt like I was eating a raspberry sorbet, and it had the texture of ice cream. It was cold. And I'm eating it last night, and my husband's sleeping on the couch, and I'm like, I'm eating ice cream. I'm eating ice cream. And he's like, what? I'm like, guess what flavor? And he's like, oh no, caramel cone. And I'm like, no. I was like, baby, I'm not eating ice cream. It's 10 o'clock at night. But I was eating that other kind.
Did you blend it? You blended it up?
No, you just mixed it. Oh
my gosh. So yeah, so I've been getting, that's actually an area I love, creative cooking. And, but it was through the competition years that we started, that I, learned how do I gonna make this chicken a different way and all that. So I love all these fun recipes, and that truly is what keeps us on track. But it's funny because 7 months ago, I decided to remove all protein shakes, because how many years of protein shakes?
Oh my gosh.
How many shakes have we ingested? Like, can we just, how many pounds, right? And I just back to this whole idea of wellness. And I was like, it just became, with my busy lifestyle, the protein shakes were like here and my real foods were here. The ratio was just shifting. Yeah. And it's not that protein shakes are bad if you have them in moderation, but anything out of moderation is not good. And so, Gina needs to just cut all of them out in order to get them out. So 7 months later, I'm 100% real food. So thinking about that recipe, I've been using a lot of Greek yogurt and having so much fun with all these different ways to satisfy that ice cream craving.
Yes.
I have to try that one, Tanji. And you upped your football game. I saw what you prepared.
Oh, so I was hosting a cooking class on the day of the Super Bowl. And
Okay.
so we did like black bean and corn salsa. We did that ice cream. We did like a cloud bread, which is basically made out of egg and egg white. And
Mm.
then we did the turkey burger. So it's a variety of food. So that's one thing, that one of the ways my nutrition has changed is I want variety and I don't want to eat the same thing all the time. And so when you think about the work that I put into to prep my boring food back years ago, I'm still putting in work, but I'm adding creativity, right?
Yep.
And so, you know, part of what I like to teach people as a health coach when I talk about empowered wellness is for people to know what they want, where they want to go. And if you're serious about it, then you will explore what are the vehicles, what car do I need to get to my destination. And so when it came to, you know, finding inspiration to cook a variety of food, I wasn't motivated to just pick up a recipe book. I just wasn't. I have those books. They're sitting on my shelf. I never look at them. But when somebody invited me to watch a cooking class and we were all going to get together Sunday, 2 o'clock, we're all going to log in and plug into this virtual cooking class, I thought, okay, this serves me because it's an appointment.
Yep.
It makes me feel like I'm in a community. So even though I'm by myself in my kitchen and my husband's in the living room, I can hear the person that was leading the class and I'm looking at the chat and we're all making comments and asking questions. So it made me feel like I had my girlfriends around. And then I knew I was going to make things because I looked at the menu that I hadn't made before. And so boom, boom, boom. And that was just a choice.
Excited.
I
Yeah.
just made a decision and then I put it on my calendar. I went grocery shopping, got prepared. And then when it was over, I was on such a high. And I thought, look at what just happened because I had a vision. I knew what I wanted and I made a choice. And then I committed and honored that choice. And then literally, if you do that daily with different
Yeah.
things, your life is changing.
Totally. And we get so used to doing the same thing all the time. It's funny how sometimes just I shared a recipe last week. I made a tuna salad and I literally threw just like an egg on top for some fats. And
Yes.
it's like, I never would have thought about that. Like somebody has said, and it's like, you're just getting creative. And I call it
Yeah.
simple creative because
Yeah.
creative doesn't have to mean it takes a lot of time. I mean,
Right.
food prep does take time, but you can get creative in a simple way. And it sounds like you're
Mhm.
kind of doing that too. Like open up some frozen cauliflower and Greek
Yeah.
yogurt. I mean,
Yeah.
what did that all take, right?
Right.
I love that. Okay, so couple questions. Like, can we talk a little bit about, so with my girls in the tribe, people get so stuck on the damn scale and how the scale defines their success. And I think that people feel like confidence comes by reaching your physical scale goals. And just I want to ask you, like, where do you think confidence comes from? Do you think it comes from when you get there, I'm going to then have that confidence, or that it comes through the difficulties, through the challenge throughout the way? Where do you think confidence comes from, and how can we inspire these ladies to get themselves off the scale?
I think I would define confidence as consistency in desired actions, right? So let's say I'm a fitness athlete and I'm confident because daily I train to master my craft, the craft of becoming a better athlete. And as I'm putting in the work, there's going to be days where I fail or I mess up or it didn't feel as great or didn't get the result. I didn't win the show, but I can still be confident because of who I am and what I do. So I place my confidence in my actions, but those actions need to be consistent. So, we all know, and this is also part of functional medicine, especially if you're a woman over the age of 40, right? Or you're premenopausal. There are so many things. We live in a world where we have so many environmental toxins and there's so much stress that there's hormone issues. I mean, just your hormones being off alone, you could be on the perfect diet, doing tons of exercise, and you're still not going to lose any weight. So then what happens to your confidence, right? So if you can be confident that, hey, maybe we need to do some exploration, maybe work with a functional medicine doctor, kind of figure some things out. But in the meantime, I am a woman who gets up in the morning, who feeds my body well, who moves my body, and who expands my mind. I do that daily. What's there not to feel good about? And then the second part of that confidence is acceptance. It's like, hey, you know, so I'm not losing 5 pounds a week or in a month, or so I didn't make my goal. The effort was there. And then there's that acceptance. Like that's a big part that I went through. At my retirement party, I joked about how I told my friends, I was like, this is it. I'm probably not going to have 6-pack abs anymore because I'm pretty sure I don't want to do what it took for me to have abs for 20 years. I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm giving it up.
That.
You
Yep.
know, I'm accepting that. But what I will have is bigger boobs because I'll have a little bit higher body fat, right?
I'm gonna take this for that. It's like that whole exchange.
Yes.
I love it.
So I remember even to this day, right? I think I look good for the average person, and I can fit into my clothes. And would I ever want to lose another 5 pounds? Yes, I'm actually in the process of trying to lose a little bit more weight because I would love to be leaner and have my arms show more and things like that. But every day when I look into the mirror, though, I have that positive self-talk and affirmation where I tell myself, this is the body of a woman who does home workouts for 30 to 40 minutes in her home, that, you know, probably eats clean 80% of the time, that has a glass of wine maybe 2 times a week. You know, this is that woman, right? And include if you have any type of autoimmune disease or if you have adrenal fatigue, any issues of health that are also affecting your body, you got to embrace that too and say, this is a woman that has Crohn's disease or you know, diabetes. And you look at yourself and then you accept yourself and still be proud of what you can do with your body. I do believe at times results will come. It's kind of more of a strategy, but that confidence should come from your actions and your acceptance of your true self.
I love that. So I share mantras every Monday in my app, and it's all these mindset things that keep me in the game. And I share those things. And it's one of them was, does confidence come through consistency or consistency come from confidence? And I have the same, I believe the same thing, everything that you're saying, that your confidence is going to come from the consistency and those small daily actions that you do. And right now we're focusing on loving non-scale victories and obsessing over them. Not just like, oh, yay, I got my water in today, but like saying, heck, yes, I freaking got my water in today, like obsessing over these victories. Yes. And if we do that, like, right, water reminder. If we do that, then it's like all of a sudden that confidence gets built because we're like, I did that. Yes. And it doesn't have to come from stepping on the Olympia stage. It comes from these small daily acts of celebration, right?
Right. Yes. It's important to celebrate. I agree. I totally agree. Yes.
Every day. It's the best day ever. Okay. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, because before I talk, I want to ask you about your supplement regime. I was looking at your Instagram, and you just transitioned this conversation perfectly, because one of the posts that you had was talking about the powerful exercise that you were, inspiring people to try. And you were saying the power of self-talk, which I'm such a big believer in, and looking at yourself in the mirror, who you are in your core, not what the scale says, but who you are in your core. And it got my wheels turning. The question that you said was, I am blank. And if you can look at yourself in the mirror, I want you to explain kind of your thought process behind this. But I feel like if you can truly look at yourself in the mirror and identify with yes, I'm beautiful and all those things, but who I am beyond the silhouettes in your core, right? Like who is Tanji? So can you expand on what you were trying to get across in that post? I love that.
So that's, it's something that I used to do with my team. I would run what I call an I am campaign. And it is a tool that we use to get people to focus on affirming themselves. And it's part of a process of self-discovery, because if you don't affirm yourself on a daily moment-to-moment basis, then you may have a negativity bias and you may be consumed with negative talk. So you're either consumed with positivity and you're affirming yourself, or you have a lot of negative talk. And then, it could be day by day that it's switching. So for people who aren't in the habit, they don't know how to plug in and go right to that positive self-talk, it's an excellent campaign to slow down and say, I am. What are you? How would your friends describe you? How would your children describe you? Your husband? When you think of what's most important about who you are, what would you say? And, when I think about me, especially, so my word for 2021 is empowered. So my word right now, my very first one would say, I am empowered. because to empower means to give power to. And I believe, this is my belief system, that I have the power to design the life that I want. And so that belief gives me confidence. Whatever I want to do, right? If I want to launch a business, if I want to get on TED Talks, if I want to get pregnant, like I believe that I have the power to design my life. It will come down to choices, but that confidence allows me to make choices without fear. And so that's a big I am for me. I am empowered. And it literally becomes the catalyst of everything that I do. And so do you see how positive that is? You know, I remember when I was a competitor, it was, I am relentless in pursuit. And that was huge because, you know, I was that girl competing 18 years. I'm going after that Olympia title. I'm going to constantly strive to be my best because I'm relentless in pursuit. If I want something, I'm going to pursue it again and again and again. I wasn't a quitter. Everybody knows that. It doesn't matter if I lost a show, I was not a quitter. I just kept going. And so sometimes your I am will evolve throughout the years and over the seasons, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have those I ams and you can go to them immediately when you need that pick me up.
I love that. I hope that everyone that's watching understands, like, we haven't talked in I don't years. Okay. I want to say 10 plus, but I'm sure we may have ran into each other, but we are speaking the same language. Yes. I have my girls come up with a word and my word of the year is fun. So I am fun because I'm so sick of being like, you know, so strict and rigid and I want to just be like, throw on the pink lipstick fun. But we haven't even talked in Tanji. We speak the same language and it's just the overall meaning behind. I think a lot of this is like, the tools that you're sharing and that I share that to become a champion and to have that mindset, it's all of these exercises that you're sharing. It's really is that foundation for building that confidence beyond the body, beyond the titles. And it's just so amazing to hear. And I love that. Yeah. Fun. And yeah, just keep it fun. I love having that word to always come back to. And I am. And next year it might be something totally different. Well, most likely it will be, right? That is, I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now what are the supplements that you're currently taking? Because I know we've talked about collagen. I believe that you carry collagen. Can you share a little bit? Because collagen is kind of on a lot of people's radar right now, and I'm a firm believer in it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to start by saying that, you know, again, going back to empowerment, you know, my husband and I, when we were looking at our business, we realized, you know, we both provide expertise and service. You know, he serves people chiropractically. I serve people through coaching and health coaching and educating. And then one area we realized that people were always asking us about, me for fitness and for him for doctor stuff, but people were always asking us about supplementation. So we decided to partner with the wellness company so that we could offer and research and choose what we thought was the leaders in anti-aging, collagen technology, and wellness. And we wanted to establish a wellness concierge. I love that term. So what that means is we have an e-commerce business, but our goal is to serve as a wellness concierge, which means we don't want you to just come to our website and shop around. I genuinely want to know, who are you? What do you need? What do you want? Do you need more energy? Do you have digestion issues? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain muscle? What are your specific wellness and health goals? And then tap into my expertise, my husband's expertise, and let us give you the best recommendations and serve as your concierge so that you know where you're going, right? Because, and that's my biggest, you know this, our frustrations as trainers is that through marketing, there's a lot of garbage out there, right? And so a consumer, if they haven't done their research or if they don't know, then a lot of times they're not making good choices. And I want consumers to be educated consumers and make great choices.
I love that. Concierge, gosh, you've got some good buzzwords. So we've got vibrant wellness, concierge. I love that. No, but it's so true because, you know, it really is. Everybody's so different and you can't give one person the exact same regimen. I mean, everybody has that different, you know, blueprint and just internal, external, everything. It really is about figuring out where they want to go to dinner, right? What supplement is going to work for them. So you currently take, what is your supplement routine now for longevity and health?
And thanks for asking that, because, going back to living a life of empowerment, let's say, I'm not going to lie, I'm a 46-year-old woman who has had an extensive athletic career. I had a little bit of adrenal dysfunction, as you can imagine, upon retiring. And so I was in the process of fixing that over the last 2 years. And I want to have good energy. I want to make sure my digestion's good. So for me, my current health goals, I start off in the morning and I start off with just apple cider vinegar with warm water and a squeeze of lemon. I do that first thing in the morning to help carve my cravings and to ignite my digestion for the rest of the day. Then I have my fat burning coffee. So again, going back to being creative, when I retired, we have a really nice espresso machine. So we got in the habit of making cappuccinos all the time, which means I was putting milk in my coffee every day. And I think at the time I was using Splenda. Now I don't even touch Splenda, right? So you evolve and you learn as you go. And so instead of just having a cappuccino in the morning, now I have what I call a fat burning coffee. So I have we have a product called Trem, and it's got the hyaluronic acid, collagen, and CLA, which helps with fat inhibition. And it's chocolate. So it's like chocolate pudding. So I put that in my coffee with, also, I put in MCT creamer. And now I've got this fat burning potion. It's about 100 calories. And that's the first thing that I consume in the morning. So it's not just straight caffeine, but it's coffee that has other purposes. Then I go through and I eat a variety of vegetables. I've got all my vegetables in mason jars. So when I open the fridge, it's like in front of you. Yeah. So it's like, all right, Tanji, grab your plate, grab your hummus, and have fun with it. And so then I also do fiber, probiotics, but my new favorite self-care supplement is our liquid collagen. And, I won't go into too much about collagen, but I do want to break down 3 things as consumers when you are shopping around for collagen. Couple of things you should try to discover. Number 1 is the absorption. Number 2 is the source of the collagen. And number 3 is it backed by science? Or are you taking the word of the label or the company? So the liquid collagen that we have, it comes down, we actually have 7 patents for our liquid collagen because it comes down to the micromolecules, and they have identified this precise molecular weight that is optimal for absorption. Now, a lot of the collagen, powder collagens, peptides, they say they got 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get everything I need. But what they are not telling you is that the source of some of these proteins are coming from carcasses of different animals, and you're actually getting 80% protein and just that much collagen. And so we know that to be true. We even know this with protein supplements, that you don't always get what you're paying for. And they're going to deceive you a lot of times in the marketing. So to me, the absorption is very important. If I'm going to take something, I want it to be highly bioavailable, and I want it to be absorbed into my body. Otherwise, I'm taking in fluff, and I don't want to pay for fluff. I'd rather pay more money for quality than for fluff.
You're going to get more out of it, no doubt.
Exactly. So the source of our collagen it's a hydrolyzed type 2 collagen that comes from the sternum of a chicken cartilage. And that is the only collagen that mimics the collagen that the human body produces. And that's the whole point, is we're going to lose collagen and hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is like joint lubrication, but we lose that. Similar to fertility, as we get older, our HA levels and collagen levels decrease. And so the goal is to, from a naturally occurring source, try to get that back into the body so that you can utilize that. So for me, it's all about the absorption. Where is it coming from? And can I trust it? Is it backed by science? And so we have clinical trials, and that's why my husband and I decided to partner with this company. Well, my husband's a doctor, so he's not going to put his reputation on anything that's not reputable. Most doctors, they have medical supplement lines that are approved by doctors. And so you won't see everyday stuff in their clinics. You'll see stuff that are more doctor approved. And so those are the 3 things that matter to me. But for me, I had lower back pain from all my years of competing in fitness. I would wake up every morning and I would have lower back pain, and I'd have to, come downstairs and roll out my back. And I mean, I wouldn't even be able to do my movement until I did that. And so this summer, when I was introduced to this, I thought, yeah, I love collagen. Let's give it a try. And after 5 weeks, I mean, I didn't even notice at first, but I just wasn't waking up with that back pain anymore. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this is really neat. And so then we researched it. And then when I found out, oh my gosh, this is backed by science, no wonder it's got the best absorption rate on the industry. And the source is the purest, most naturally occurring. It's not a blend or some post
Proprietary
potion.
blends. Yeah.
Right. Yes, it wasn't any of that. And so my husband and I decided to partner with them, and that's what we're proud to offer. So that's my favorite right now, self-care supplement.
Oh, I love that. Well, thanks for the extra info, because I know I get a lot about, collagen, and I'm using it in my day to day, but I am using the powder form. So I love
Better
learning
than
more about
nothing.
that. Absolutely. Yeah. But I love learning all that. And I love the fact that you're your own guinea pig, and you put it to the test before you actually jump on board with it and share it with everyone. I'm just like that, where I want to be able to, put it to practice first. And you're the perfect person to actually feel the difference with all that pounding. And like you said, it's like you don't even really realize it until maybe a week goes by where you're like, oh, my back kind of feels a lot better. I don't have those pains anymore. That's awesome. And are you noticing it too? Your skin and your hair growing like a weed?
Absolutely. And it's just about being proactive. So we want to teach people, we want to teach people, as you probably do, the majority of what you should do for yourself is get your nutrition through real whole foods. And if you can do it organically, even better. But you want to be able to eat well, feed the body well. But we also know that if you're moving and you're getting that food in, that's when supplementation is going to really be the most powerful. It's like getting that extra little advantage. And that's why I will take a probiotic, and that's why I'll take the liquid collagen, because I'm really just investing
in the gaps.
Yes, filling in the gaps and investing in the anti-aging process, because I want a vibrant, optimal life. But I know that we live in a world where our bodies start to break down as we get older. So I will do whatever it takes through nutrition, the right natural supplementations, to make that process harder as I get older. Brandon's grandmother is 96 years old, 97.
Oh my gosh.
I do not know many people that are still around in their 90s. So I'm very inspired. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You said, like, your word proactive is a good one, because that's exactly why I pivoted away from the protein powders, because it was like, while I was feeling great, a little bloat here and there, but I was fine with that. But it was more just thinking long term of the years of these protein powders and the proprietary blends and the stuff that may be in there that, whatnot. But it is about looking long term at our health. And I think that there's that pivot that happens as a competitor. You could probably, where at one point it's about healthy living, yes, but you're also trying to get that physique to that level, and you're pounding. And then there's a shift that happens where you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of that conditioning for the long term.
Well, and I will say this, and this is just real talk, right, that you can probably relate to. When you are a competitor, because I consult with a lot of current IFBB pros, and because it's nice to be able to just give them kind of a vision of like what direction they can go in. But I remember, when you're a pro, at the time, you're more concerned about winning your show, increasing your following, getting sponsorships. And so if you want to be a sponsored athlete, and you want your image to be tied to some company, you're not thinking so much necessarily about, well, what are you putting into your body? You're just thinking like, I want to partner with a big brand, and I'm just going to choose to trust that they have good stuff. Because I look at a lot of pros, and they're jumping from supplement company to supplement company to supplement company, so that they can have that relationship, that professional partnership that makes their brand look better. And then when you retire and you don't care about any of that, and that's not a priority, all of a sudden you're really thinking, no, actually, I really need to think about what I'm putting in my body. And I need to know the brands and what's in all of these ingredients. And so I've just found that a lot of pros, I don't feel like they're really thinking about what's in the products of the companies they're representing. They're just focusing on making sure they are representing somebody, because that makes them look cool or feel validated and successful.
Yeah. And once you bounce to another company, that last company probably doesn't care about you. So But you're stuck with the aftermath. So yeah, let's just be real. No, I just love that. Tanji, one thing I've always just loved about you, and you've just proven it in this conversation, is your energy, yes, but your integrity. You're just yes, I remember our conversations, and that's why we've connected again, because we just, I just have loved you and watching you. You're so inspiring, your energy, your integrity, your humbleness. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. I wanted to put your information. I believe that's all correct.
Totally. Great job.
Instagram, Facebook, and website. And then through your website, they can find the supplements, right? Because they're different.
Actually, so I know that says Tanji Johnson. If they find me on Instagram, then they can DM me. But our website is, for me and my husband's functional medicine practice, is Bridgman Health Solutions.
So it's www.bridgeman.
Yes, Health Solutions, all one word, Bridgman Health Solutions. So that is getting updated as we speak, but they will be able to see information on that. But that's the website. And then the easiest way to get a hold of me is just through Instagram and sending me a DM.
Yes, and you can always ask me, and I'll tell you exactly where she's at. Well, so great to chat with you, Tanji. Thank you so much for your time. And hopefully I will see you face to face sooner than later. Maybe we'll even do I'd love to join one of your cooking shows.
Oh, that would be awesome. Right? I would definitely. Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, girlfriend. So much love. Have an amazing day. We'll connect real soon.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. Such a fun, real conversation. Just, real stuff, real women, real truth. And I cannot wait to connect with you again real soon. Be on the lookout tomorrow, Wednesday, the 10th. I plan to go live and share a fun, yummy, sugar-free cookie recipe with everyone to enjoy the holiday completely Gina-approved and guilt-free. You have Tanji's information. For my information, in case you don't know who I am, GinaAliotti.com. And if you haven't already checked out the GFit app, be sure to download the GFit app, get 7 days free. That includes tons of the mindset stuff Tanji and I were talking about, simple creative recipes, home workouts, everything you need to live a vibrant, healthy, wellness life. All right, my friends, have an incredible day, and I will see you real soon.